Okay, Ryan. So let's start off, with your operations management experience back from 2018 coming into 2022. Can you talk to me a little bit about what you did there?
Yes, thank you. Good morning. So, in my role at that time, I was a small business owner and I also subcontracted to other businesses. And you could almost say that it was implementing the role of the business data analyst. So, we're trying to improve the functions of a small business. And in this case, the employee count was between 5 and 15 for the two businesses that I worked with mainly. And if we go straight to the resume, we can see where the key achievement is can kind of explain. I just identified a process that was able to be implemented and scaled, which improved the gross margins of the business by a considerable rate. And I did that by identifying gap analysis strategies and then targeting the KPIs. And that's definitively a short answer, but
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay.
yeah,
Yep.
some software was utilized. I am familiar with like Trello. I'm very familiar with Office and so yeah, it was some software utilization there, but
Okay. Perfect. Yes, and then you were kind of doing IT technician work as well. It looks like, was that for the same kind of industry?
it was for a similar arrangement where I was a business owner and I subcontracted my work to people, clients that were ranging from residential all the way up to commercial and enterprise. And during that time, I also took my efforts to the cryptocurrency field where I sort of built a project, same thing, identified the market, identified the goals of the business strategy, and purchased the equipment, installed it, maintained it,
Okay.
and that was a personal effort within the business that I oversaw. As far as on a relationship standpoint, I was heavily utilizing CRMs to engage with clients on a daily basis. In fact, so much so that it's like the 100-hour-a-week job. So properly utilizing the CRM was definitely crucial. There was a lot of the same processes and flows that tie back into being a business analyst.
Sure.
Extracting information and just making sure the documentation is on point.
Mm-hmm.
You have to use current data to understand what the problems are. What are the current needs of the client? What are the issues identified by management?
Mm-hmm.
Where can we implement a fix that the team will see as workable? And dealing with those issues, with those tasks, with hundreds of clients throughout the year, association managers, $1 million property management. One of my biggest clients during that time, where I maintained their irrigation system and some of their smart home and IoT devices, was the Bill France family, who owns the NASCAR Speedway. Yep. So I was pretty well known in town. but yeah, as far as that goes, you can see on the resume where I had some pretty strong performance metrics, and I also took my expertise to Angie's List and Home Advisor for years, where I maintained a digital marketplace software suite that integrated with the CRM. And during that time, a little bit of experience tracking down solutions through Jira and Salesforce and stuff like that.
Perfect.
That experience came later in my history as well.
Okay. And then, lastly, the MSP service engineer / IT support specialist. I see, you have some different certifications here, which is great. And again, I'm assuming it looks like it was you graduated an 8-week full-time Microsoft Teams boot camp, which is pretty cool. What did even looks like you were working with Canadian-based.
Excuse me.
That's okay. Canadian-based platforms as well.
Yes. So what that actually was a boot camp to become an MSP service engineer. So a managed service provider engineer who would work with SMB, small and medium businesses, with the deployment was to a Canadian-based cloud computing company named SureWeb. And Microsoft was the backbone of their infrastructure because of their heightened security posture, Microsoft, and the scalability of their on-premises and cloud offerings. And so I did graduate the boot camp. I received an MS 900 certification and study time on about 6 other certifications. It was a full-time boot camp. And so I think the total amount of hours we logged on Teams during that time alone was about 300 hours of working on Teams and integration with the SureWeb team. And so, yeah, we didn't discuss HIPAA very much, but I would like to hit on that briefly. So as I don't have a lot of experience in healthcare, I would have to do a bit of research and potentially require acquiring any certificates or any courses. That would be fine with me.
Okay.
But as far as the requirements for HIPAA compliance, if you don't already utilize a third-party software to sort of fill in the gaps and monitor the analysis of your HIPAA compliance, that's fine, because there's plenty of software that already falls well within the HIPAA compliance requirements, which are performing self-audits, having a remediation plan in place, developing and implementing policies, procedures, and employee training, documentation, business associate management, and incident management. So.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And then the one last thing, too, is it looks like you have it listed here with your certifications and what you're going to be pursuing. There are a couple other certifications that you'll have completed by the end of February of this year.
Yes. I'm still involved in learning processes.
Okay.
My end goal is to spend a year or two finalizing my career transition as a whole.
Okay.
Which is hopefully going to take me towards software engineer or full stack developer. So that's my like 2-year. So
okay.
I would be happily and gainfully employed for at least a solid year to give my best efforts. And the only real reason why I didn't, the team allowed me to opt out of a contract at Catalyte because the deployment was, how it ended up working out was going to be longer at a year's time, and the experience was going to be a little more in line with help desk call technician. And
Okay.
so as far as that year schedule, that's sort of why I opted out of that MSP service engineer position full time, but I still let the experience rest on my resume. And so that's where I'm at right now is January. So
Okay. Perfect.